Heat fans, it's been a frustrating 5 seasons, or at least 5 off seasons, because Jimmy Butler's never gotten the help he deserves in the off-season moves. So that begs the question, does Pat Riley need to retire? I should expect to see a lot of answers down below. Get your votes in. Y for yes or N for no. All right, it seems unlikely that the Miami Heat are going to get DeMar DeRozan. We're going to talk about what could be next for the Miami Heat. I am Nic Rohloff. This is the Heat Report by Chat Sports. And this all starts from our guy, Barry Jackson, who, by the way, has just been on one over the past couple of days in regards to the Heat and what he's been saying on social media. I suggest you follow him, other than just the breaking news he has. But he says Kings have talked to Bulls about DeRozan sign and trade per source. Spurs also another possibility. Despite DeRozan's interest in Miami, Heat not in position to give him what he's seeking at this time. Heat will hope opportunity on some player once arises this summer. So I took this as it's just not going to happen. And I tell you what, those 26 hours of believing DeMar DeRozan could come to the Miami Heat were fun. And I'm not saying it's completely over with DeMar. That's just not the case. Like, the same situation and how the Heat were going to have to get him is still there. Like, they'd have to trade one of Rozier Herro and then sign him to a contract there. But if you had any hope of DeRozan taking the tax-paying mid-level at $5.2 million, which is the highest Miami can offer, at least right now with their current cap situation, you were either just unbelievably delusional or just misinformed, because DeRozan simply just was never going to do that. And that's why I always thought that DeRozan stuff was a long shot. There's just too many complications with Miami and what they would have to do with shipping players away in order to try to sign DeRozan. And you can't do a sign and trade either. I know a lot of people are going to bring that up, is because, well, that hard caps you at the first apron. And if you gave DeRozan a 3-year sign and trade contract, which is what you'd have to do, by the way, you can't do anything less than that, it would hard cap you at the first apron. Miami would be above the first apron, so it just simply doesn't work. Miami can't do a sign and trade. They'd have to trade a separate contract and then sign DeRozan. But in the follow-up of that first initial tweet from Barry Jackson, he did have this. He is trying to do something in trade market. I have been assured. DeRozan seems too difficult at the moment. Other options less clear. That's why they have left themselves $7 million under the second apron for now. So it's not like they're sitting around playing Scrabble. So at least, if Barry Jackson's to be trusted, which I do trust his sources, the Heat are actually trying to do something. Now, what are they trying to do? That's probably the biggest question that we have to ask. Are they trying to swing big in the trade market? What are they looking for in a trade to improve this roster? We've often talked about these three players as Heat trade targets: Lauri Markkanen, Trae Young, and Kyle Kuzma. You can order them however you want. I know a lot of Heat fans want Trae Young. I am more in the Lauri Markkanen camp, and we're going to talk about Kyle Kuzma here in the later portion of today's video. But let me know, who do you want the Heat to trade for? Who should they go after in the trade market? The $7 million thing under the second apron probably means nothing, because if they are going after one of those guys, they're going to have to send out a lot to get them. So let me know who you should, or you think the Heat should trade for. I'm getting on the phone for Lauri Markkanen, and that's just how it is. I think he's the perfect fit on this team. A lot of Heat fans believe that at the trade deadline last year, and a lot of people still believe it now. I am one included. He is one of the most dynamic offensive players in the NBA in the front court. Ever since he has joined the Utah Jazz after being the main returning piece in the Donovan Mitchell trade for Utah, he's been terrific. He's made an all-star game. He's averaged 25 points and 23 points respectively. And we've talked about this over the past couple shows as well. Not many 7-footers are moving the way Lauri Markkanen does offensively and defensively. Like, you simply just don't see guys of his size shoot the ball from 3 like he does, and it's not like they're all just catch and shoots on 2 attempts a game. Nah, he's firing them up there left and right, and some of them are either coming on step backs, isolation dribbles, movement shooting. Like, he is a different breed. And when you think about how he fits in Miami, it is as good as any person could possibly fit. He would be your starting 4. Hell, he could technically even be classified as your starting center, because he is a bigger person than Bam. He is not more physical and not more athletic than Adebayo, but in terms of height and wingspan, he is. Lauri is 7 feet tall. Bam's only 6'9" and change, 6'10" on a good day. So you get another front court backcourt piece next to Bam that can space the floor, defend, move his feet, and control a lot of the offensive attention to take some of that off Jimmy and Bam. He, to me, is the perfect 2A, 2B option for Miami to really try to get the best out of a Bam and Jimmy dynamic duo. More to talk about here and come in just a second, but make sure you are subscribed because we will talk Miami Heat basketball every single day. We do not miss a day, so hit that sub button because you won't want to miss the latest trade rumors, news, and we'll be live for Summer League games as well starting next Wednesday, so hit that sub button and join us. All right, we've often talked about what a trade package for Lauri Markkanen would look like, and a lot of people are uneasy about this package. You don't want to ship out the house. I'm fine doing it. I'm cool sending Herro, Hawkins, and Jovic to get Lauri Markkanen. You'd also have to likely add a first-round pick, and there's even a chance that the Jazz say no to that because if we're being honest, Danny Ainge doesn't like Miami, and when he wants to trade away big pieces, he is always looking for picks, not really young players. So it's tough for the Heat because they can't offer really more than that 2031 first-round pick or just the 2030 first-round pick. It doesn't really matter which one you send, but all I know is that the Heat can only send one as of now. They technically could send 2029 and 2031 for 2 first-round picks if they're able to lift the protections off the 27 first-round pick. You might be asking, how does it affect it? Well, a lot of different situations occur where if that doesn't convey, 28 is unprotected, so you technically can't say in 29. It's this chain of events thing, but if you remove the protections off 27 pick that you sent to Charlotte, then you could trade 29 and 31. But it's a question of if the Jazz even want that. I think this is a really good package. I think it's fair for Lauri Markkanen. It's just a question of Utah would want picks. But here's a backup option for the Miami Heat in terms of Kyle Kuzma. And this is probably my second trade option. I could argue he'd be my first for Miami. I always said Donovan Mitchell was number 1. Kyle Kuzma might be number 2 because he would be a great fit in Miami and he would come at a much cheaper price. The production isn't that much different from Lauri Markkanen. Let's not kid ourselves. Lauri is way better than Kuzma, but it's not like crazy different here. Kuzma has averaged 20 points per game plus in the last 2 seasons. Although it has been on a lot of volume and he's not the most efficient player, you see there he's shooting 45% just about over the past 2 seasons, which is fine, but the three-point numbers is where it really differentiates. Not the best shooter, 33, 35% three-point guy, but maybe on a lesser volume, he'd be able to be more efficient and he'd get better looks, more open per se, working alongside Jimmy and Bam. But there's no question that he can score the basketball, and he's also got great size to him to where he's your more traditional power forward or 4 in between Jimmy and Bam. He's 6'9", so he's borderline the same height as Adebayo, and he's got some physicality to him to where he can guard 4s in the NBA. And I said it'd be a much cheaper price point in a trade. This is what I think my trade offer to the Wizards would be for Kyle Kuzma. It would be Tyler Herro. Kuzma makes $23 million this season. We'll look at his contract in a second. You'd also have to send probably 2 second-round picks, the 2026 second via Los Angeles, and your own 2031 second-round pick. You'd also save $6 million in this deal because Herro's making $30 million this season. Kuzma making $23 and change. So let me know, before we talk about Kuzma more in depth here, would you do this trade for Kyle Kuzma? Type A for accept or type D for decline? I'm absolutely doing this trade for Kyle Kuzma because he fits this team better than Tyler Herro. He simply does. When you think of the best players on this Heat team, you got Rozier, Jimmy, Bam. You do not need Herro and Rozier, and I am unsure if that backcourt will work as we progress here because they just aren't the best defensive tandem, and I don't think that they will work. Now, when you think about this, though, if you just have Rozier be your lead guard, you put a shooting guy second, and then have Kuzma at the 4, well, now we're talking some business. And the contract is way better. It's one of the rare descending contracts in the NBA. He's getting paid $23.5 million this season, getting paid $21.5 million in 25-26, and getting paid $19.5 million in 26-27. So it's going down by $2 million in each of the next 3 seasons before he's unrestricted in 27-28. When you look at Kuzma's production to this contract, you can argue it is one of the most appealing contracts in the NBA. Like, he's saving you a good amount of money over the next 3 seasons for a really, really good third/fourth option that I believe could help contend on a championship team. And you get some cap space here where if you make that trade, you go below the first apron and you will have more money to sign a guy like Haywood Highsmith back, where he hasn't signed yet. So you could sign him for $7-8 mil a year and have him still be your 3-and-D guy off the bench. Hell, you could even use that cap space because you'd go underneath the first apron. You can go back into the first apron to sign Caleb Martin if he's not signed already, if you made this deal today, to get him back on a $12 million contract or a $10 million deal. You'd still be in the first apron, but you would be able to retain one of your better wing guys that can defend and shoot and not cross the second apron. To me, I would get on the phone with Washington right now and try to acquire Kyle Kuzma. That's just me, though. We'll see if Pat Riley does anything. Make sure you do follow me on Twitter, because if Pat Riley does make a move, we will have you covered over there first. Alec Burks signed, Thomas Bryant signed yesterday. You would have known about it first on my Twitter before we made a video on the channel. So make sure you are following me at Nic_Rohloff. Talk Heat basketball every day, so give me a follow.